Welcome back to another unscripted episode of Sweat Talk. My name's Chad. Today I want to talk about transforming your health in your life after 40. Remember when you're in your teens and your 20s and you were able to just eat anything that you wanted to. You never gained weight, you didn't have to care, you always had energy, you still went outside, you still went and hung out with your friends, you played, you rode your bicycle, and your parents still had to force you to go to bed at a reasonable hour so that you could sleep and do it all over again. You're able to function off of 4 or 5 hours of sleep, no problem. You didn't care. But now as you're getting older, especially once you hit that big 4-0, you find yourself, you don't have any energy. You're gaining weight. You think back to your glory days when you had big muscles, you're ripped, you're broke, but you're ripped. Or maybe you never had that. The thing is once you turn 40, once you get up near that 40-year-old mark, that 40-year-old point, once you get up near that big 4-0, your metabolism starts to slow down, you start to lose your testosterone. And we all do it, you know, like women, you might be going into perimenopause or even menopause itself. But what you find out is, as you get older, everything just starts to go to shit. Your body starts hurting, your joints are hurting that you didn't even know you had. You just start finding pain all over the place. You don't have any energy. It feels like you go to work and you come home and everything is just on repeat. It's Groundhog Day, all over, every single day. We've been lied to our entire lives about our nutrition, our whole lives. It's crazy because South Park, they did an episode on the food pyramid. And in order to stay healthy, you had to flip the food pyramid upside down. And in all actuality, that is factual. That is a fact. So about a year ago, my wife and I, we decided that we were gonna go carnivore. I was gaining weight, like out of control. I was losing my mind. I had no mental clarity, no mental focus. I couldn't hardly function as a person, much less as a man, a husband, or a father. I wasn't able to do any of that. And all I did was I cut out everything except meat, coffee. Started eating more fat, started eating more protein. Because everything in our diet, like we don't even eat chicken. Everything we eat is beef, ground beef, steak, roasts. We do still eat eggs and dairy, but we cut everything out of our diet. This October, so next month, it'll be a year as a carnivore for me. Now, when I first started doing research into the whole carnivore thing, I thought it was all bullshit. I didn't think that it was possible. I didn't think there was any way that just changing your diet to red meat would have that large of an impact on my body, my mental clarity, my testosterone, everything. But it's changed my life. It's changed Robin's life. It took her a little while to get on with me, probably 2 months after me.
I think it was mainly because I was going to see my dad. I knew what I was going to be eating.
Right.
Not carnivore there.
Yeah. So she knew that she was going to be going to see her dad and it wasn't going to be carnivore. You know, it's drastic and people don't do it. But the thing is all those toxins that you're consuming on a regular basis, they build up inside your body. They build up in your system. Where do you think chronic pain comes from? These chronic diseases. In the 1930s, there was hardly any cardiovascular disease. #1 killer in the United States. Cancer wasn't hardly a thing. In order for cancer to survive, it has to have sugar, glucose. All of those toxins in all of the plants that you're eating that you're told are good for you. People say, well, the dose is what makes the poison. Well, if you don't know what dose you're taking, how do you know you're not overdosing? The thing is, if you want to build muscle, if you want to build muscle again, God damn it. If you want to be able to build muscle and live like you're 20 years old again, give carnivore a try. Check it out. I was able to lose 45 pounds. I was able to lose 50 pounds and I've never felt better. My muscles are growing like I've never seen before. You don't need to take any supplements. I actually do still take a pre-workout, but I probably don't need it. I'm sure it doesn't do anything for me. It's just one of those things in your brain that you can't get rid of, I guess. But if you truly want to change your life, if you truly want to help your life spiritually, physically, and mentally, go carnivore. Give it a shot. Keep all those toxins out of your body, out of your life. And I'm telling you, my mind works like it did when I was in my teens. My mental health has never been better. My weight, the amount of muscle that I'm carrying, is far more than I was able to maintain even in my 30s, early 30s. Back in my early 30s, I ran between 3 and 6 miles a day. I worked out off and on. Like, you know, I've always gone through that yo-yo, right? So Get on the wagon, fall off the wagon. Get on the wagon, fall off the wagon. Get on the wagon, fall off the wagon. It's been the name of my life, right? That's been the name of the game. But so another thing that isn't talked about is your doctors and nutritionists and stuff. They're going to tell you that you need to have sugar. You need to have that glucose. You need to have the carbohydrates in order for your body to function properly. It's a bald-faced lie. You don't need any of that. I even had one nutritionist tell me that I needed to consume more carbohydrates because my brain was requiring the carbohydrates in order to function. And then in the same sentence or the same paragraph, she was talking about how consuming too much protein was bad for me because my body would turn it into carbohydrates through gluconeogenesis. So like, this was the same provider, this was the same person, and this was the same, you know, when we were sitting down in her office and we're talking about this stuff. Completely contradicted herself and she didn't even realize it. You don't need the carbohydrates. In fact, the carbohydrates, you're addicted to sugar. That's something that nobody ever talks about, is the sugar addiction. That's why when you go have a cheat meal, say, you know, I know tons of people that when keto was a fad, right? When keto was a big deal, tons of people, including myself, saw the huge benefits of the ketogenic diet. And then one day, one cheat meal or one treat turns into one day, then it turns into an entire day binge, or then it goes from one cheat meal, then the next day you start feeling bad, and then it turns into a binge day and it's okay. And then that binge day turns into a binge week, and that binge week turns into a binge month, and then that binge month just goes off the rails. It's because you're addicted to sugar. People don't talk about about how real sugar addiction actually is. Sugar is just as addictive as heroin. And I would say, I argue that sugar is worse for you than heroin. People don't necessarily overdose on sugar. However, they do develop diabetes. They do ruin their lives. They go out, think about the diabetic that goes and gets their foot chopped off. As soon as they go get out of surgery and they just lost their foot because of their addiction to sugar, the doctor's going to tell them it's okay to eat sugar. They're going to go back and they're going to eat another half gallon of ice cream. They're going to destroy their lives. They're going to deform their bodies. They're going to deform everything around them and restructure their entire life because of sugar. They're going to live in a prison of their own mind because of sugar. Yeah, they're not going to live on the streets because of it. Heroin addicts will. But the thing is that person is going to overdose and is going to die because of that sugar, only in the form of diabetes or heart failure, congestive heart failure. No, they're not going to overdose one day and sporadically die, but they're killing themselves over a period, just like a heroin addict often does. Getting sugar out of your diet in general, getting rid of the carbohydrates in your diet, it's not easy. And think about all the excuses, like think about all of the excuses that you can come up with and all of the reasons why you need to eat carbohydrates. Think about those. Think about that. They're not reasons, they're excuses because you're addicted to sugar and you don't know how to get rid of it. You like all the good tasting food, but you know what? From my experience, I'm never going back. I'm never going to get off of the carnivore diet, ever again. I owe it to myself, I owe it to my family. I realize that I am a sugar addict. You don't give a drunk a drink. Sugar is the same thing. And we have to realize it. We have to realize that our addiction is sugar. Just like everything else. When it comes to alcohol, when it comes to drugs, admitting that there's a problem is the first step to curing it. But since you don't give a drunk a drink, you don't give a sugar addict carbohydrates. You don't take a cheat meal, but you start one day at a time, just like an alcoholic. Today, I'm not going to eat any carbohydrates. Then the next day, today, I'm not going to eat any carbohydrates. This hour, I'm not going to eat any carbohydrates. I'm not going to have any sugar right now. I'm going to beat this craving that I have right now. And it will take you months to beat those cravings. Anyway, that's all I got for today. If you guys got anything out of this, let me know. I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate you guys showing up, and I hope that you show up for yourselves. I hope you are able to get your nutrition right, because it is far and away the most important thing that you can do to transform your body, soul, and mind. If you ever want to fix if you have a mental health issue, if you suffer from depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, whatever, you owe it to yourself and your family to get rid of the sugar. It will change your life. I guarantee it. I appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful day. Peace.